Thanks for sticking around. This is Boise State in the Community. I'm your host, Jeremy Pope, and we didn't scare her away yet. Professor Amy Vecchione is still here, and we just saw kind of like an introduction to the makerspace. It looks like there's a lot of 3D printing, giant game boards, puppets. Can you just give it, like, what is a makerspace? What goes on?
All of the students and staff and faculty on this campus come up with ideas, and they bring those ideas into the space, talk about them, and generally make things that no one's ever made before. And so the projects that you'll see when you walk in, they're going to be different from week to week. It depends on what folks are working on, what they want to showcase. So there are things like the giant piano game piece that we've made in the past, but the most popular thing this week is probably the HAL. Just to give you an example of the HAL, it's a big old box, and inside, it looks very big, but inside the things that make it work are just two tiny computers, and you hit the red button, it plays random sounds. And it was just an idea that people had. So what I try to do in the space is encourage folks who have wild ideas to try to get them out of their brain and put them onto a napkin or a piece of paper and then build a prototype and see what happens.
So let's say I'm someone with like a wild brain and crazy ideas. How can I get connected to the Makers Lab?
Generally, what happens is folks with those ideas walk into the space, and generally what I think happens is when you're in class and you don't understand the theory behind something, but you're trying to figure out how to apply it in real life, that's a good moment to come into the makerspace. And then you can learn how to do any piece of technology. You ask the folks that work there, and they'll teach everybody that walks in how to use anything that we have. In that process, what I would encourage folks to do is pay attention to what is kind of lighting a fire for them. Like, oh, that gave me this idea, and taking notes to write that down. Because generally, the first time you encounter something, you get more ideas than you do the 100th time that you encounter something. And so then you learn how to use it, you gain some mastery, and you make something new.